Welcome back to another episode of the PokeStop Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Pra, as always, joined by my amazing co-host, Thad. How are you doing today, Thad?
Pretty good. Zach, how are you doing?
You know, Thad, we had a new season start on
We did.
Tuesday. New season started. It is currently, at the time of the recording of this podcast, it is July 3rd. I can confidently say tonight is the first night I have not played in a championship point event.
Wow, that's pretty impressive for you.
That's actually kind of insane because I was talking about how, like, yeah, I'm not going to really do that much this season. I'm just going to, like, kind of chill out. And I'm like, yeah, we already have 20. I mean, like, I probably won't really do that much, like, outside of locals just because, like, I don't like, I'm not a huge fan of the top one. Like, I just don't like a leaderboard-based format.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I got top 4 at both of the challenges I went to on Tuesday and Wednesday, which like feels bad if I'm being honest. But like I think it's also just like weirdly high expectations I have for myself. That like
It makes sense.
getting top 4 at events with I think 28 and 35 people is like for me seen as like a bad thing. Which is kind of weird, I think.
It's a weird problem to have.
Not self-glazing, just more of like a self-reflection, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Thad, I don't know if you know this. I played Bolt to both of those events.
I'm shocked that you would do such a thing.
Maybe Deck's good. Who knows? We'll never know.
Deck is mid.
Actually, last night I heard the funniest thing ever. Someone told me that they don't like coming to locals because everyone plays Bolt because of me. And it genuinely made me laugh.
Yeah.
It was honestly like a point of pride. I was like, I have corrupted all of these people into just being Bolt heads, and I love it so much.
Damn. Look at you.
It's amazing. It's a great time to be alive.
You should be an influencer.
Oh my god. I should get a like a sleep sponsor for all the Top Gun.
You should.
You know?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Yep. But Thad, it is a new season. You know?
Yes. And with the new season, Zach, you know what comes with it?
What comes with it, Thad? Tell me.
With a new season, we get new players. We get more new players introduced to our game,
True.
Showing up to our locals, hearing about, what the Pokemon trading card game has to offer after they've been playing Pocket for months. And, now they're hearing about locals coming back and what that means.
For sure.
So what I want to spend a little bit of time on, probably just like for the next 5 or so minutes, and you're going to get involved with this too, is talking about what are the next best steps for a new player, and where do we start? And Zach, I think the best place to start is to understand how the Pokemon architect or hierarchy works in terms of tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So you have things like your local level tournaments, which are going to be run by your local game store and your LGS. Your LGS will offer once a month a step up from your regular league night, and that will be your league challenge, meaning that you have to provide a deck list. You have to write out the set numbers and everything on your Pokemon cards. So go prepared for challenges to write out your set list, or you can use one of the resources like Arcanine Labs to.
I was gonna ask, is there a website I can go to where I could input this information, maybe print it out ahead of time, so I'm not worrying about having to get to my tournaments early to make sure I have time to write out my list?
Yeah, no, that would be ark9.dg and Limitless. I believe it's just limitless.com.
LimitlessTCG.com. Yeah, they have a deck builder.
Yep.
But I have always been a fan of RK9. It's really nice. It's really easy. Because also you type in the name of the card. And it shows you the arts of the card. So if you're not sure 100% which one, you can just match it up. and it makes it
Yep,
super
just by the
easy. And you can also save them. So if you play the same list or like one card different or something like that, you can just swap the cards out and reprint the same list.
which is going to lead right into my next point, is that you'll also need those deck lists for your next two levels up. Your first one is going to be your next slip up from a challenge is going to be a League Cup. Your LGS will run one a quarter. So they're kind of infrequent, and they're normally, you'll find normally around the same times every year for the same stores. Everyone likes to coordinate for the most part so that everybody doesn't have to go to the same cup in the same day or have to determine whether they're going to go to one cup or another in the same day. On top of that, that's like Zach's favorite thing to do. He goes to cups all the time, even
I
when he
do love
doesn't need
cups.
to.
I do love going to
Just loves
cups.
punting points away at the end of the season from players who are probably trying to go for worlds invites.
Honestly,
It's fine.
honestly though, like I just really enjoy cups because like I feel like challenges for the most part, especially if you're like someone who is like very competitive like myself, once you are out of once you get like one loss, you're kind of hoping you can bubble into like the top 4. Whereas like a cup, you can usually get one, maybe even 2 and bubble in. And I think that's just it offers you like hitting a bad matchup, hitting just, deck didn't want to work that game. Like I started with 6 energies and like a Fez, like what am I supposed to do with that kind of thing?
Yeah, which sort of also leads me to my next point, which is why go to cups and challenges, and also the next layers up like regionals and internationals. Why go to all these events, right? And it's to earn things like Zach said, championship points, which at the end of a year, depending on how many you have, can get you in the top 135 of all the North American players and get you an invite to the World Championships. But that's
So
beside the point.
so we have challenges, we have cups, which for the record I attended 28 last season. Counted that up. Really, I need to go outside and touch grass first off. So
That's
like
I think
what's above that, right? So like the cup level is at like once a quarter tournament I go to at like my LGS, or maybe I drive a little bit to a different LGS. What's above that?
Yep, the next step up is going to be your regional events. Those happen a lot less infrequently at times and a lot frequently in other times. You'll see these on the event locator on the Pokemon website. So if you go to events.pokemon.com, or you can just type in Pokemon Regionals into their search bar on their website, also pull them up there too. Your regionals are going to be, spread across many different cities in a season. Normally we have about 8 to 12 regionals.
Yeah, I think last season we had 13 in North America.
Yeah, somewhere around
like,
there.
Yeah, so like they're definitely events you have to plan for, right? Like challenges and cups, you can pretty much wake up that day and drive to the store and sign up. Whereas like regionals, they're going to require registering ahead of time. And I'm a huge fan of, if you are going to want to attend those kinds of events, you should use Twitter. And you should follow 2 people if you're a North American player. You should follow Arcane9 on Twitter. I think I believe their Twitter username is literally just at Arcane9. And the other one it's at Arcane9 Labs, excuse me. And the other one is Gaming Gen. They're the tournament organizer Pokemon uses for all the North American regionals. So these regionals have their registration periods usually 2.5-ish months before. And I noticed last season it was always a Wednesday at 7 p.m. local time to the regional. So if it's like a West Coast regional, it'll be 7 p.m. Pacific time. Whereas if it's like an East Coast regional, 7 p.m. Eastern. But definitely make sure you're following them on Twitter, so that way you don't miss. Because I know like a few people who like don't really use Twitter and like literally just didn't know, and like they missed out on a regional they wanted to go to just because they didn't know it was happening. And they do sell out usually the same day.
Yeah, very, very rarely do regionals stay open for more than maybe even a couple hours at this point.
Yeah, like it's definitely something where like you want to be prepared for this. You're like, okay, this Wednesday, 7 p.m. I'm going to be sitting on my computer at 6:55, and that way when 7 o'clock and 0 seconds hits, I'm gonna hit refresh. I'm gonna get signed in. I'm gonna be signed in already. Be ready to go. Like don't mess around because you don't want like I took too long to sign into my RK9 profile to be the reason I don't get to go to a regional. And like I absolutely love going to regionals. They are super fun. It's just because you're like around like 4,000 people who like really all just really love Pokemon, and that's just super cool.
Yeah, we're all just kind of being a little nerdy together.
Yeah, for sure.
But then yeah, so regionals are that next tier up event, and then there's a layer above that is mostly open to the public, that anybody can register for. There's no thresholds for registering for any of the events we've mentioned thus far. You can just, if you know where to go to sign up at the right time, you can sign up and get in and go. The next step up would be our international events. These happen on 3 different continents. You have North American, a Latin American, and European international championships. Asia is its own region. You don't got to worry about that. Basically, if you think of a country that's not in the 3 regions I just mentioned, you can kind of forget about it. But those events are, like I said, there's 1 per quarter essentially. And you got to be careful. If you really want to go, you got to really plan this kind of stuff out, because it's like, Europe, you're saying in London, North America, I think this year we're going to New Orleans again.
Correct.
And then Latin America is Sao Paulo again. So yeah, that's like the ultimate, like that's the biggest tier you can just not have like an invitation for, so to speak. Those also give you the most championship points of anything.
Yeah.
So go to those if you so choose to play in the next tier up from that.
Yeah, and I think it is worth noting that these are pretty significant jumps. Like when we talk like your challenges and your cups, that's anywhere from like 10 to maybe 40 people. Whereas like your regionals and your international championships, like we go from a couple dozen to like a couple thousand, right? So it is a very significant jump. I think of like the 5 regionals I went to last year, I think the smallest one had 1,800 people. And the biggest one I think had 2,300.
Yeah. Well, no, San Antonio. How much did No, Atlanta had more than that, didn't it?
I don't know. I'm just ballparking.
Yeah. Either way, but just expect like around like at this point the 2,500 mark for sure.
Yeah.
But either way, internationals are another level above that. So think about like the easily 4,000 numbers, especially for North America and Europe.
Atlanta had 2,600. Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a lot of people go to these events. So like you should be prepared to be around a lot of people.
And it's highly competitive, right? This is
these are not the casual events. This is a very serious, very competitive atmosphere.
Yeah, and so with that being said, make sure that you're showing up properly for these kind of things, right? It's going to lead us sort of into the next segment here. Now that we know how the hierarchy works of, what tournaments are going where. I guess the last thing to mention is Worlds, right? Which is invitation only. It happens once a year. You have to hit a certain amount of threshold at like 100, the top 135 players in almost any region.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the premium event, right? And that's invitation only.
Yeah, that is that's the end goal for like the highest echelon of player. It's to be at the World Championships. And honestly, I mean, it's a thing that's very difficult to attain for a reason, right? Like there's, I think in 2025 globally, there were people who just got any kind of championship points. I'm pretty sure there were well over 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And the total invites to this year's Worlds is probably around 600. So like incredibly competitive event. Like everyone who's there is very just absurdly good at the game of Pokemon and has put a lot of time in.
Yeah. So like that's not something you can kind of like just casually stroll into.
Yeah.
Um so those are sort of like the levels, and now we need to talk about what to do, kind of like what what tournament etiquette looks like when you show up at a tournament, whether it's a local or a regional, international, you know, what's important to bring with you, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach, I'll sort of let you kick this one off here. Like, if you were showing up and it's your first time going to your locals league challenge, right? You've been to the league before. You kind of have an idea what's going on. Walk me through like
Sure.
a challenge or even a cup.
Sure. Yeah. So for me, the prep starts the day either earlier in the day if it's like a challenge because it's usually like at night, whereas cups start usually in the 10, 11 o'clock in the morning kind of thing. So either if it's a challenge earlier that day, if it's a cup, it starts for me the night before. I am a I'm a firm believer in preparation equals perfection. So the night before, my list is printed. It's in my bag. My deck box is in my bag. I have extra sleeves. Huge thing to always have some extra sleeves in case you split one. Because if you don't have extra sleeves, you could get a game loss, and you don't want to lose a game because like you split a sleeve and you forgot to put a couple extras. Which because most deck boxes, most packs of sleeves, they don't come in 60 cards. I don't know of any that come in 60 cards. So there's always
Just
extra
the
sleeves. I guess the
yeah
ETB ones have like 65, but just always have extra sleeves, right? Like always
yeah
have it. And I usually will I will usually bring an extra box of sleeves just in case a judge is like, "Hey, you need to re-sleeve." Like, cool, got them already. And then if you don't use them, they weigh like 3 ounces. You're chilling. Um,
yeah.
so I'm ready to roll. That way, that morning I just got to shower. Definitely shower, please, please, please shower. That's probably the most important thing is to bathe. I'm not kidding. I don't know why I have to tell people this, but I'm telling people this. Please bathe. Um,
So
soap, yeah, put it all over you, man. Let it sink in. Let the bad plays wash off of you. You know. And I would always prepare to arrive at least 15 minutes early, just in case you hit traffic, anything happens, because these events do not wait, right? Like, because you got to think about it like this too. Like, there are at least 15 people who are waiting for this thing to start. So like, if we're having to wait 10 minutes for somebody who's showing up late, people are not going to be happy with you, and you don't want people mad at you before the day starts, kind of thing. I'm a firm believer in that. I personally, it is such a pet peeve of mine for people who show up at like tournament starts at like noon and you're there at 11:59. You're like, oh, I got to write my list really quick, and I'm just like, you could have brought this with you and like just been ready to roll. But on top of
good.
those things, I think it is really important. Also, have a playmat. I hate playing on like a plain table. And playmats are just they're also like a really fun way to like show your own creativity. Like if you're a Pokemon, if you go to tournaments like regionals and stuff, that you actually get a playmat. They give you a playmat for just playing. It's like part of your
Yeah.
entry. If you win a league cup, I don't have one on me or I'd show it off. It's actually a playmat that says champion on the bottom in like gold letters. They're really cool. They're really nice. I'm
It's
gonna
funny
guess
because actually I have one right here.
There it is. There's the mat. Yeah. There we go. Featuring the greatest Pokemon of all time, Raging Bolt, of course. Yeah. So like, always have your play mat. Have your dice. I use a deck box, which it has 2 compartments. The bottom one holds your deck. Top one holds the dice. Super nice. Super efficient. I love not having to bring a lot of stuff. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. He's going to open it up for us. We see the deck right there in the top and dice easily accessible, ready to go. Pulls it right out, and that is ready to call heads or tails for the first turn of the game.
Deck box.
Deck box. Very important. Also, when I go to tournaments, I don't bring extra stuff. I literally bring, there are 3 things in my bag. There is a deck. In a deck box, there is a playmat, and there is a sheet. And I guess there's extra sleeves, so I guess 4 things. Like
Yeah.
I bring as little as humanly possible.
Yeah. You don't
It's
need
like,
that much.
yeah, if you want to bring your binder, if you want to trade with people, cool. But a lot of people at tournaments aren't really in a trading mood. They're just like, people are very focused. They're very, I'm here to win this thing. I'm here trying to win. So I'm not going to be spending a lot of time thinking about like, I wonder if someone's going to Zoroark for trade.
And the other things that we needed to go into is what to do during the tournament. Like, like aside from just knowing the rules of the game,
Sure.
right? That's essential, right? I would say, but I'll start this off. My thing is show up understanding and knowing how to shuffle. Put cards in your hand and like pretend to shuffle them, right? I shuffle all the time. I'm like, even while I've been sitting here on the mic, I've just been sitting here like mash shuffling.
Yeah.
Just giving myself something to do. Practice shuffling, mash shuffling, riffle shuffling. Try not to like, what's that? Counting your cards.
Yeah, please do
Pile
not pile
shuffling.
shuffle unless it's the end of a round.
And just make sure you die.
It's really annoying for your opponent, and a lot of people will think you're slow playing intentionally, which is not good. You don't want your opponent to be mad at you for no reason. It's also the
if you
least
want to go
efficient
further
way
into
to
this,
randomize your cards, right? So like actually, like the probability of this is when you pile shuffle, that will take you about a minute, right? That randomizes your deck once. Hey Thad, can you on camera mash shuffle twice for me?
Mash shuffle twice?
Yeah, just yeah. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Okay, so about 2.5 seconds, you mashed twice. So you randomized more in those 2.5 seconds than my pile shuffle did that took 30 times, 60 times longer.
I mean, this side goes a lot faster. The other side, I'm dogging a little
for
bit.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And one thing I did when I first started playing to like teach myself how to shuffle, just have your deck with you when like you're watching TV, or you're doing something. And like if you're watching TV, when there's a commercial on, just shuffle. Just sit there and shuffle. Instead of going on TikTok, just shuffle your deck. And you do that for 10 minutes, it's gonna become second nature.
Even if you have to like use like old sleeves and just leave up like energy cards.
Sure.
If you don't want to like bend or crease or whatever your good deck or whatever, do it.
Yeah, you can do energy cards. You can do code cards that come in the packs. Just the habit of shuffling is something, once you get it, you will never forget it. Like I remember I took a break from Pokemon for like 4.5 years, and I didn't shuffle a deck of cards in 5 years, and I came back and it was like riding a bike. I was immediately able like to pick it up right where I left off.
Yeah.
So Thad, let me ask you this, because you're someone who's run probably more tournaments than me. How should I act during a game?
During a game, just make sure you're staying level-headed, right? Focus on the game, not on your opponent, right? You're not fist fighting someone, right? You're playing a card game across from someone, so it's not personal, right? It's not about hurting each other. Keep it, cordial. Don't use like abusive any words or language. If somebody asks for, pronouns, just please be kind and, offer up pronouns. And also make sure that your pace of play is on top of it, right? If you're making multiple actions and shuffling between things that you don't need to, like you play nest ball, you shuffle, you're like, I have another nest ball in my hand, I want to go play nest ball.
Sure.
Right, like let's keep things moving, right? Think through your next action before you finish your first action.
Yeah.
It's just that one next thing for helping your pace of play. Outside of that, I can't think of anything too crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really just about like being intentional with my actions, right? Like I'm not just like, And even if you forget, like, oh, I nest balled. Oh, I have another nest ball, or I have a buddy poffin, or like, I'm gonna Arvin after I nest balled. Just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going back
Yeah.
in. If you tell your opponent like, I'm sorry, I'm going back in, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is not any kind of intentional thing you're doing. This is just like you just forgot. It happens to everybody. It happens to all of us. So I think it's
Yeah.
just about like having that intention of being like, okay, I'm gonna try and do this the best I can. And like sometimes you won't do well. Like sometimes you will be like, I'm forgetting. I'm going back in. I'm sorry. It happens to all of us. Again.
I do it all the time.
I think honestly, Thad, I want to ask you this because there is one thing that I think a lot of new players have a really tough time kind of like figuring out how to do this and when to do this. So let's say I think my opponent isn't playing at a proper pace of play because I'm a new Pokemon player, but I've read my handbook. I've read the handbook where it says, my opponent, a player needs to make an action every at least 15 seconds. What should I do if I think they're taking like 20, they're taking 25, they Arvined and we're still, it's been like 30 seconds and we're still looking through the deck on our Arvin search. How would you go about that?
I would kindly ask the players, say, hey, do you mind just keeping pace of time or keeping track of time or something to the effect of like, hey, do you mind completing your action? Just something
Polite.
small. Don't make it a big deal.
Yeah.
Polite.
It's
Don't
not
make it a
huge
big
issue.
deal.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of shrug it off.
Yeah.
Hey, you okay? Like, do you mind like helping or like completing this action?
Sure.
And they'll get the point. It's easy.
Yeah.
Or not to be rude or hey, I'm not trying to like push you along, but it's been a little bit of time.
Sure.
If the behavior is persistent after that, even if you notice it like once, I would get a judge involved. Just
How
yell
would you
out,
do that?
"Hey, judge!"
Mhm.
Raise your hands. Call over a judge. If they're close enough, you can say, "Hey, judge." Uh, just be polite about it.
Yeah, I
But
think
I
like
think you have to.
I think also like there is a good way and a bad way to call for a judge. And
Yes, I would
I'm
agree.
gonna push my microphone away while I do this because it's gonna be loud. The inappropriate way to do this is to go, judge! That is not the appropriate way to call for a judge. That is how to annoy everyone around you. The appropriate way
100%.
is, hey, judge, just, elevate your voice, but we don't have to scream across the convention center. That is so annoying when like I'm playing at a regional and there's like at regionals, there are a lot of judges. Like there's always a judge with an earshot.
Yeah.
And like we don't need to scream at the top of our lungs. Right? Like I get it if you've
No,
been
we
waiting a
don't.
minute or two, doing it again, maybe a little louder, cool, that makes sense. But when there's like a judge 3 feet away and we shout at the top of our lungs because like I want to know the time and round. We just
Yeah.
don't need that.
No.
We really just don't need that. That's just unnecessary.
Yeah. But Zach, I think we've covered basically everything we need, right, for getting a new player started.
There is one last thing I wanted to go over. So
Yeah, what
every
was it?
round, at 99% of tournaments you go to, you will be given what is called a match slip. That slip will have both players' names on one side. So what you will do at the end of your game, assuming a player won, you will circle the winning player's name. So if me and Thad were playing and Thad had won, we would circle Thad's name. And then there's a little, on the end of the slip, there's a little thing that says initial here. Just scribble your initials on there. And then the winner should always take up the match slip.
Yes.
Because that way, it's your win. It's your responsibility to report your match. Whereas if it's a tie on the match slip in the middle, it'll say tie. You would just circle tie, and then both players would initial, and then at that point, it doesn't matter who takes it up because it's a tie.
Depends on where you're at in the tournament, but both players going up is sometimes
It's
okay.
fine. Yeah, it also depends like what the tournament is, right? If we're like at a league challenge, you don't need to be like hyper focusing. Like, did my match get reported correctly? And like
Yeah.
usually at regionals, you can like on your phone, you'll just follow Arcane 9, because that's how they track all your tournament stuff. And you can usually what I'll do after like 5 minutes after I turn in my match slip, I'll refresh just to make sure, to make sure like something weird didn't happen.
I actually think you can report your times now, right? Your ties.
I don't know. I don't know if that's confirmed yet or not. It'd be nice.
I think they did that at NAIC.
Okay. I know you can drop now from your phone, which is really nice.
Yes.
You don't have to
That
do
may
like
be
the
what
walk
I'm
of
thinking
shame
of.
to the. I think you don't have to do the walk of shame anymore, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that kind of covers everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know what else we would even. At least for like, this is a really good like. I'm starting to play Pokemon. How do kind of video.
Yep.
And like understanding organized play. Yeah, so 100%. But moving forward, Thad, we are about 2 weeks from a new set. And when I say new set, I mean an old set. Because we have Black Bolt and White Flare coming out in about 2 weeks. This is a special set that is going to feature a lot of cards from the Black and White era, which I don't think either of us really played in.
No, played towards the. The only really history I have with that era is playing Legacy format on TCGO.
Sure.
So,
but not like any kind of serious, like competitive or casual play really in the set list, which is kind of cool. So this is the Black and White era that was around 2011, I believe. Until I want to say 2013, 2014.
2014, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that was a older set, which is kind of cool. So they're kind of doing a throwback. There's a few cards from this set that are kind of like more or less reprints, like they're cards and arts that were in the old Black and White sets. I honestly love this. I think it's super cool to like kind of show homage to like the older eras, especially when like the game has like kind of exploded over the past like 3-4 years. Like I remember like pre-COVID, like 2019, it was a big deal if a regional hit like 1,000 people, and now it's a big deal if it doesn't hit 2,000 people. Like it's
100%.
It's really weird, just how much this game has blown up, which is good and bad at the same time. I think there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah. I would agree.
This set has some really cool stuff that I'm really excited about. But mainly, I am excited that Gardevoir finally gets good. Thad. All right. Gardevoir has been down bad for the longest time.
And which is why it's probably getting its. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just about time Gardevoir finally gets its due. It's been hampered for too long. Truly, I think it's a deck that is due to finally be good.
Yeah, and with a card like Jellicent EX coming out in our Black and White set in a couple weeks, should be real good. Jellicent EX is going to be just phenomenal for the deck, I believe. For 3 energy, it does 160. If memory serves me correct.
I believe
or 2
so.
energy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or no, 4 energy.
Yeah, but that's fine though. You don't really care about that. You're Gardevoir.
Yeah. So for 2 energy, it's hitting for 80, but if you have 4, it hits for 160. So it's hitting for 160 on a psychic Pokemon. I'll put the image on the screen if you don't already have it.
I do not. So
I'll do it in post. Yeah, I'll do it in post. has 270 HP.
Okay.
It has the
It's not that
ability,
crazy.
and this is
Oh,
the
there's
crazy
an
part,
ability?
Zach. Are you
Oh, the
ready for the
ability's probably not
ability?
that crazy. The ability's probably like, not that serious though. It's probably like for like 160 on stage 1. It's probably
Yeah.
okay, but not. There's no way it's that crazy. What is it?
Yeah, so the ability, it's called Seekers.
Okay.
And it says as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your
Uh huh.
opponent can't play item cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So item lock on an ability, cool. And then no tool cards from their hand.
Inside my head, there's just bombs going off. I, do they hate us?
Honestly, the best part about this card is that
How much
it
item lock do we
dies.
need in this format?
No, it's gonna be so good, dude. This deck dies in like 6 months when Gardevoir rotates.
I know. It feels like this is gonna be like this season's Reggie Drago, and it's like we just make
Oh
this deck
yeah.
absurd for 3 sets, and then it falls off the cliff.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna be Reggie Drago.
Yeah, it's gonna become instead of like you either play Drago or you beat Drago, you either play Guardy or you beat Guardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, this deck as like a Bolt player, Jellicent is super concerning to me. Because if we combo a Jellicent with like a Clefairy, or even just like a couple
Oh, that's how you're gonna do it.
Yeah, like you just Clefairy, Jellicent's hitting for 360.
Monkey Dory.
You don't even need it. You don't even need the monkey.
Well, now I'm saying if you have double monkey up, you're not hitting for 160, you're hitting for 220.
Yeah, but you're still 20 short on a Bolt.
But what's a third monkey Dory?
Yeah, but you don't even need it. I don't see. I think ideally, you play 1, maybe 2 in the Bolt matchup, because you don't need that much, right? Like your biggest guy's 240, which your Drifloons, your Jellicents, these other things deal with the bolts, and then if you need to deal with an Ogerpon, you can just do it with. If you can't do it with those other cards, you just do it with Guardy Monkey. And
Do you throw like a? Oh man, you can't even really throw a Baby Moon in Bolt.
No, not really.
To hit for weakness.
It'd be crazy if you could.
Yeah.
Because is it too dark or is it dark colorless?
I think it's dark colorless.
Probably not.
There's a card coming out.
There is a card coming out that we'll get to. Thad, what else are you excited for in this set?
Yeah, outside of that, I'm looking forward. Especially this is the GLC had me coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zoroark, and it might see some light in standard, but I think for the most part, this is like the best card for GLC, the Gym Leader Challenge format card. It's Zoroark. It's a stage 1. For 1 darkness energy, it's 30 times 30 for the amount of Pokemon on your opponent's bench, which is, a traditional Zoroark attack. It's been printed on that card at least one other time that I know of. And then the second attack, for 3 energy, 3 colorless energy, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack.
Sounds
and
fun.
You know what, Zach? You might be thinking to yourself, well, dang, 3 colorless energy sounds like a big problem. Well, I'm here to tell you, not anymore. Because we have a new special energy called Ignition Energy, which for 1 turn, when it's attached to your Pokemon's, it provides. If it's attached to an evolution Pokemon, it provides 3 energy, but at the end of the turn, it gets discarded. And we've had energies like that printed in the past. It's not unfamiliar. Triple acceleration energy is the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
This effect has been around before.
Yeah, I think especially something like reversal energy could also work in this deck. Maybe a little with this card, maybe a little better than the ignition energy, just because ignition discards itself at the end of the turn. But this Zoroark's actually really cool because it actually combines probably the 2 best Zoroarks that have been on in one prizers. There was the black and white Zoroark, which had the foul play attack, which was at the time 2 colorless. And then the other Zoroark with Mind Jack from the Breakthrough set in the XY block had Mind Jack for, and I'm pretty sure it's the exact same text. So this one is 30 times. The original one was 10 plus 30. But that was also 2 colorless versus this one being 1 dark. So I think honestly, like thinking from a GLC player's perspective, I think this is just the best one. Just because it is the most easy, especially in a format where we don't have access to any kind of twin or double colorless energy anymore. This Zoroark I think is just better.
Yeah, it's one of those things like the Mind Jack is just good early damage to
and it
lay
does
down.
have more HP. The other ones have 100. This one has 120. I'm not sure if that's a super relevant number, but it could be.
It kind of is. Realistically, it kind of sucks. That one, like 120, the thresholds are always 70, 120. I'm sorry, 60, 120, 160.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean,
those are
really
the
cool
big thresholds you need to overcome.
Yeah, definitely a really cool Pokemon that I think could see some play in Standard as well. Just because with a lot more rainbowy kind of Pokemon. And we do still have Luminous is still in format as well. So
yeah,
that could
that
very easily power up your Mind Jacks really easily. And it also has the 1 retreat as well. So you can attack and then retreat next turn if you need to go into something different. So definitely a lot of play with that guy.
Yeah, and another card to really power that up that's coming out in this set is going to be Brave Bengal.
Okay.
Right. The attacks of the attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. So yeah, it also excludes rule box Pokemon.
Oh, so it can't be on a rule box. Ooh, that's actually
so
really
Brave
cool.
Bengal, a Brave Bengal is not useful on an EX. Attacking an EX, it does nothing. So that's kind of cool, which is why I think that Zoroark is going to be somewhat playable. The Typhlosion is going to be really this is going to really help out Typhlosion a lot, hit good numbers. The Ethan's Typhlosion stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super relevant. Really good. I think it's balanced.
Yeah, I think it's fair. It requiring the excuse me, sorry. It requiring it to be a non-rule box, I really enjoy. You know what, honestly, I would love in format. Because we haven't had this since rotation, since we lost Vacuum. I really wish we had a way to get rid of stuff.
Well, Zach, I have a bridge to sell you. Rather, a tool. And it's a scrapper. I'm talking about Tool Scrapper being back, baby.
Go. Now, this is a card that was around previously, right?
Yep. So last printed in Sword and Shield, I believe.
Yeah, it was originally the OG Tool Scrapper was in Dragons Exalted. Back in God, what year was that? That was probably 2012. Dragons Exalted, yeah. And then it got a reprint in, I think that was Rebel Clash.
Yep.
Yeah, in Rebel Clash it got a reprint. So that's really cool. So if you were an older player who played during those formats, time to go digging in the old bulk bin. I actually need to go digging for my Tool Scrappers from Rebel Clash. I'm sure I have a couple.
You probably do.
And for our newer players, just to give you a heads up, older cards that have been reprinted, you can play the old cards as long as the name and the text is the same, or it has received an errata to be the same, like Pokemon Catcher. So Pokemon
Super
Catcher
rad.
is Super Rod, but Pokemon Catcher is an item that says flip a coin if heads, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with the active Pokemon. The original Pokemon Catchers did not have the coin effect. So the the original ones I'm pretty sure it just said switch them. Like you could just
Yeah.
be like, bring that up, which isn't as broken as it sounds in that era, just because, shockingly enough, there was a time in the Pokemon trading card game where we didn't just punch each other in the face 3 times and call it a game.
Crazy times.
Fun fact. Yeah. Actually, the black and white one from Dark Explorers did not have the coin flip requirement.
Oh yeah, that's right. It did get that. It got a reprint, and then it got errata like literally that same year that it got the reprint.
I think it was the XY one, right?
Yeah.
Or no, Emerging Powers.
Yeah, that was a Mewtwo set, wasn't it? Or no, that was next SNES. What was Emerging Powers? What was relevant in that?
I'm trying to remember.
Emerging Powers. Because that'd be like was that the second set of that block?
I think so.
I don't know. Either way, spending too much time on that now.
I'm trying to remember a set I didn't even play in, and it's not going well. Yeah.
But I would say, we're talking about tools, talking about tool scrappers. I think one of our new best tool users that's coming out is going to be Meloetta EX. Okay. I think this is sort of going to be an underrated card. It might go under the, we may see it not being used all that frequently, but its ability live debut says if you go first, this Pokemon can attack on your first turn. It doesn't say you have to use any of its attacks specifically. So if you have like a TM Evo or a TM Devo or whatever on this, you can use that attack. So you can start evolving up, turn 1 going first. If you just have the TM Evo in hand, or if you play the TM machine or whatever the item card is that goes and gets you technical machines. Mm-hmm. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty. I don't know if it'll be super relevant, but it'll be a fast way to get in the game. Outside of that, Zach, I know that there's other cards that are coming out. I need you to tell me about them.
I'm sick and tired of hearing about these dumb evolution Pokemon. All right, I'm gonna need some big boy basics to talk about here. All right, the first one I want to talk about isn't a basic, but boy, does it work well with basics. The first one is actually a reprint. And what a better way to send Miraidon out than literally the way it came in. We are getting a reprint of Dynamotor. For those who do not know, Dynamotor is an ability that's been in the game on electric Pokemon at least a few times.
Yeah.
Most recently, it was on a Flaffy. But this time, we are getting a reprint on electric that it says once during your turn, you may attach a basic lightning energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. And unfortunately, this is not a direct reprint to the one from Noble Victories, because that one just says attach a lightning card, not a basic lightning card. So unfortunately, I will not be able to use my old Eels, which is
you will not be able to.
Big Sag, big old. It's actually crazy because it's like it's the same HP, it's the same name, it's the same. The attack is even the same, which is crazy.
Even the flavor text is the same.
Yeah, like you could. There's one word missing that is functionally irrelevant. But it is kind of dumb, but it is what it is. I'm just a big fan of my yellow borders. But life will go on. Previously as scheduled. The next card I want to talk about, getting to our big basic boys. Zekrom EX. The first attack you're going to love. 2 colorless energies for 50 damage.
Oh my gosh.
Guardians are shaking in their boots. But the second attack,
you can knock out a Hoot Hoot.
Squawkabilly's be concerned. The second attack for 2 lightning and a colorless. Voltage Burst has a base damage of 130. And then this attack does 50 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. But you do take 30 damage to yourself. But
Big
let's
deal.
just say your opponent's got a Jellicent in the active. And you go, I don't care. I have a Zekrom.
Bye-bye.
So Zekrom to hit I think 280 is a really big number in the current format. So that would require them to have taken 3 prizes. So
Not a big deal.
not something that won't happen halfway through a game. Yeah, so I think Zekrom is really cool. That card I think is going to be really good because I think like the Miraidon decks post-rotation have missed the big hitter. When we had the old Raikou V, Raichu V, just being able to hit big numbers for not a ton of energy was just so good for those decks. And I think it's definitely something that deck has sorely missed. But one problem we always have with these big basic Pokemon is they have a decent retreat cost. Usually 2, sometimes 3. But we have a reprint of Air Balloon. I, in fact, have an Air Balloon right here for your viewing pleasure.
Oh, I just have.
Ooh, imagine not having the full art. But this is a reprint from the Sword and Shield Air Balloon. I don't believe it was in any other. I think that was the first time we had Air Balloon.
It was the first time we had Air Balloon.
Yeah, there was Big Air Balloon, but that is not the same. That's a totally different card. Just shares kind of the same name. The retreat cost of the Pokemon this card is attached to is 2 less. So, no rule box requirement, no evolution requirement, just any Pokemon, 2 less. I think that is going to combo really well in Miraidon decks. It is also going to combo insanely well in Goldango decks. I think Goldango being able to slap an Air Balloon down when it's a deck that already probably runs Arvins.
Yeah.
There's your tool. Grab your Air Balloon. And it's so good because you can promote a Goldango, do your coin bonus for 2, Air Balloon, retreat, bring in your other Goldango, Air Balloon for 2 more. And that's before we even start talking about Fez, supporters, Dracloaks. You know, it's just going to make that deck that much better. Which I think it might be the thing this deck kind of needs to kind of get over this hump. I feel like Goldango has just kind of been in a weird spot where it just has a really big problem hitting relevant matchups. And like it's always like that deck that you don't think is that good, but could be really good.
I think it's going to be so good.
Yeah, so I think with this added consistency of Air Balloon, it's going to really help. We also have another card that's going to combo so well with Goldango is the new Genesect EX with the ability Metal Signal. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 Evolution Metal Pokemon and put them into your hand. Then you can shuffle your deck. The attack is very bad for Goldango, just because it's a deck that wants to attach 1 and keep on moving. But being able to just like, go search for your Goldangos, gonna be really good. And this is a once per turn, so it's not a once when you play. Once every turn, you can go find your Goldangos. So that's definitely going to be something that really helps with your consistency, and I think will allow you to run less Ultra Balls and more Nest Balls, more Poffin, and kind of save those spots for your Air Balloons or Genesects.
Yeah.
You know, maybe more Gust. A lot of different ways this deck could kind of evolve itself, which is really cool. Another card that I am really excited about, a new special energy in Black Bolt, is the Prism Energy. This is a reprint of the Next Destinies Prism Energy, which is super cool. Very excited about that. Prism Energy, when it is attached to a basic Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but only 1 energy at a time. So basically, Rainbow Energy, Luminous Energy. Really going to combo well in decks that have a lot of energy acceleration. And you want to play like an attacker that is like 1 whatever energy and a colorless or 2 colorless or something like that. I think this card will go really well with decks like Miraidon, with decks maybe Goldango. I could honestly see this in Raging Bolt also.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is just going to be such a splashable card. And there is a decent amount of supporters that find energies. There's Colress's Tenacity, which grab a stadium and an energy. We also have a new supporter coming out, Hilda, which allows you to search your deck for an evolution Pokemon and an energy card. So let's say your Bolt, you could grab your Prism and a Noctowl. Not bad at all, for sure.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. We also have a few reprints we're getting, where cards that are already in format are going to kind of be in format longer. Not super crazy cards, kind of cards we always kind of have access to in one way or another. Is the Pokegear 3.0, which is the look at the top 7, grab a supporter, shuffle the rest back into your deck. It is the same art as the Scarlet and Violet era one, but the regulation mark is moved back to I. So you'll be able to play Pokegear for a bit while longer, which is really cool. We also are going to have Energy Retrieval. Just honestly, just such a classic card in the Pokemon trading card game. Put two basic energy cards from your hand from your discard pile into your hand. Pretty self-explanatory, really cool. And again, that is the same art as the Scarlet and Violet era, but the regulation mark gets put back to I. And again, you can play the old arts as long as the text is the same, which on cards like Pokegear, Energy Retrieval, Ultra Ball, Nest Ball, Great Ball, a lot of these cards, it's the same. So me personally, I play a lot of these Sun and Moon era arts just because that was like my favorite era. Has like a lot of nostalgia for me. Thad loves it because he loves yellow borders and thinks they're superior to silver, gray, ugly borders, which is the correct take for anyone to have. Right, Thad?
Wrong. So wrong.
That's correct. I know. I agree, Thad. You don't have to quit. You don't keep agreeing with me on everything. It's crazy. But Thad, is there anything else you want to tell the people? Any words?
Yeah, be kind to your mother. But no, go enjoy the game. Let us know in the comments how much you've been playing and how much you plan on playing this season. I'm really excited to see who all is out there really going for a championship invite or just trying to run their local circuit into the ground.
That's me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's so much for watching. Make sure you let us know what is your favorite card in the Black Bolt White Flare era, in the 2 sets, because it's really weird. This is also 2 sets,
dual set,
going at the same time, so they have 2 separate card pools. So
super weird. That's
going to be fun. Also, if you're a new player, don't buy sealed unless you want to open packs. Just buy singles. But that's for a different day. This has been the PokeStop Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and do all the things. And have a wonderful weekend. We'll see y'all next time on the PokeStop Podcast.
Later.